Getting your podcast on iTunes is the first step in reaching millions of podcast listeners. But how do you do it, and where do you start? Hi, I'm Ryan from Pepperland Marketing, and today I'm going to show you how to get your podcast listed on iTunes in 7 easy steps. It's not as hard as you think, and I'm going to walk you through the same process that I've done to list a few podcasts on iTunes. The first step in getting your podcast listed on iTunes is to record your first episode. No matter what hosting company you pick to host your podcast, you're going to need to upload an episode. iTunes manually reviews every podcast submission, so you're going to want a good quality podcast episode for them to review. Additionally, you're going to want to pick a podcast hosting company. There are a lot of podcast hosting companies out there. For this tutorial, we're going to be using SoundCloud. We've used SoundCloud to list many podcasts on iTunes, and it seems to be the easiest way. Once you've recorded your podcast, you're going to want to upload that MP3 to your podcast hosting company. Again, we're going to be using SoundCloud. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to want to press the Upload button. This is going to take you to another screen that says drag or drop or upload your file. You can drag or drop your file there, and it will prompt you to fill out your podcast details. On your podcast episode detail screen, you're going to want to fill out your title, genre, tags, and additional description. This is going to give iTunes and listeners alike context of what your episode's about, and you're also going to want to upload a podcast artwork image. This is what people are going to see when your podcast is listed in iTunes. You're going to want to upload an image that's between 1400 by 1400 by 3000 by 3000 pixels. This is important because iTunes may reject your podcast during the validation period if you don't have the proper sized image. On the Permissions tab, you're going to want to make sure that the Include an RSS feed option is checked. We're going to get into what an RSS feed is a little later, but this is important so that iTunes can review your episode. Now that you've uploaded your first episode, it's time to find your RSS feed so you can upload it to iTunes listings. In the top right-hand corner, you're going to find a 3-buttoned Settings tab. Go down to Settings, toggle over to Content, and you'll see that your RSS feed is right there. This is the key to uploading your podcast to iTunes. Once you have this URL, you're going to want to download and create an iTunes account. Once that's done, in the top left-hand corner, toggle to Podcasts. In the right-hand column, you're going to see an option that says Submit a Podcast. This will open a new window in your browser titled iTunes Connect. It's going to ask you to log in with your Apple ID. In the top left-hand corner, toggle to My Podcast tab and click the plus button to add your new podcast. On the next screen, you're going to submit your RSS feed. The first time you submit your RSS feed, iTunes may have some errors that come back to you. Don't worry, that doesn't mean that you can't submit your podcast, but you will have to make some tweaks to the kind of things you include in your RSS feed. If you don't have any errors, your podcast RSS feed will be submitted for review. iTunes manually reviews all the podcast submissions, so your validation may take up to a week or maybe even 2. During the validation period, you can continue to upload new episodes to your podcast so you can hit the ground running once your podcast has been validated. While you're waiting for validation, it's probably a good idea to plan out your promotion strategy. Are you going to be posting videos on YouTube? Are you going to be turning those episodes into blog posts? These are questions you should ask yourself when thinking about a promotion plan. Planning out a promotion strategy around your podcast is key to getting new listeners and reaching new audiences. Here at Pepperland, we can help you out if you ever need anything.